Well, Happy New Year to all us, to all of you, from all of us here at Wisconsin Prep Hockey, from Mr. Berg, Sunberg. That's a catcher, isn't it? Former catcher Jim Sunberg.
We're already off on a tangent.
Dell
We
Scanlon.
are so easily distracted.
Dell Scanlon's with us, and also Chris McGuirk. Chris, how are you?
I'm well,
You have to introduce him properly as Chris McGuirk, Wisconsin Prep Hockey's second favorite hockey official.
Chris McGuirk, Wisconsin Prep Hockey's second favorite hockey official. Good evening, Chris.
Hey, how you guys doing? I will take that, knowing a little bit of nepotism in the Berg family, but I'll still take it.
Well, I think I inadvertently on our Twitter account downgraded you to our second favorite Canadian as well. Because wow. I believe I tagged Mako Belkovic as our favorite Canadian.
Okay, but he's gone.
He's out of state now. That don't count.
Yeah, he's in Ohio.
See, Bill spent a couple of years in Bowling Green, so there's a connection there, you know.
Yep.
Fair enough. Mako is a solid guy. Does a lot for hockey. He's I will stand back. His resume is a little bit better than mine.
Yeah, he's also quite the character as well. So
that he is.
Yes, he is. If you've ever followed his Twitter account, and very opinionated. Chris, let's talk a little bit about our panel here of so-called know-it-alls. Let's talk a little bit about COVID and the world of referees. And obviously, with this going on, you guys have different things that you need to do, and just kind of talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's like anybody else. It's been a real different type of a year. From this scheduling part, I'm good friends with a lot of our schedulers, and they're pulling their hairs out. They don't know what happens. They wake up on a Monday morning, they have one schedule in their hand, and by the time Saturday comes up, 8 to 15 things have changed. So those guys have got a lot going on. Every weekend it seems some team goes into quarantine or some team comes out of quarantine, so we're getting games dropped or adding games because somebody's filling in for those games. And then there's also sometimes an official will have to go into quarantine. So that ends up having to change crews and things like that. It's been quite a different year. We're in some buildings with absolutely no fans in them, so we don't know what to call because nobody's telling us what to call. And then there's limited fans in some of them. And then when things are a little bit, things are getting a little dicey, you just have to take a step back and say, at least we're on the ice. The kids are getting to play. We're getting out there, doing what we love to do. And just think of the big picture, and every game we have to realize it may be our last. And that goes for the players. It goes for the officials, goes for the coaches. We just have to take what we get each day and work from it.
You guys have to go through a lot of changes in terms of protecting yourselves while you're out on the ice. Talk a little bit about the changes there you guys as referees have to go through.
Well, we're like the players and everybody there. We're masked up. Some guys have decided that they would, instead of blowing the traditional whistle, they've got themselves these little 4-inch tube electronic whistles that it's just a press, like we were talking about. It's like being on Jeopardy. You press the whistle and it goes. Has a little bit of a different tone, more of a higher pitched basketball tone. I've decided that I'm going to use a gator. I pull the gator up and I blow through it. I got to blow a little harder to get the same decibel level through my my whistle, but I've decided to go that. And then we got some guys that are actually, and this makes zero sense to me, pulling down the gator and then blowing the whistle, and then going right back up. So There's a couple different methods that some people want to use. Like I said, I've decided to use the gator, blow right through the mask. Many guys are using the electronic whistle. Thing about the electronic whistle is you probably want to have two of them on your person, because either batteries will wear out or sometimes it just malfunction, or even just have your standard regular whistle with you too. But you do need some sort of a backup. So that's the kind of the protection we're taking, sanitizing between periods, no handshaking. Coaches meetings are minimal. I've decided in my games for my coaches meetings, I'm just going to slide over to each bench during warm up and ask them, is everybody properly equipped? We're not going to do a traditional meeting, and ask them if they have any questions. And at that point, I just kind of ask each coach, make sure your player is coming out ready to play. And ready to play means with his mask up. And if it falls down during play, we're not going to stop play for it. But we do want to be safe. We want to be safe out there, that nobody else gets sick. So we're asking everybody to come out ready to play. If your mask falls down, that's what happens. I got some kids coming out, they're using their mask as a chin strap, and that's doing nobody any good and not helping to get us to the other side of this.
So I was going to ask about how are the kids handling it? Are they pretty good about it, or is there, some forms of resistance? Guys like, you're not going to make me wear this, and
no,
I
haven't run into anything like that. Mostly, they've been fairly compliant in the sense that, hey, I want to be out here. You're risking your teammates, you're risking me. Just come out ready to play, and they go, yep, sorry. And then they do it quick. And I just say, next time, please come out ready to play. And it's tough because we're at a point where we have to make calls on the ice. We don't want to be the mask police too. We have enough to worry about in high school hockey than having to be the mask police too.
So you ever had to call a penalty on any kids?
Not for a mask.
How can you be the mask police and the mouth guard police at the same time? I mean, how you got a kid with his mask down on his chin and his mouth guard, tucked over in the corner, or because we've all seen that. I mean, those high school players don't really like to keep that mouth guard where it belongs.
Yeah, you pick your battles, Bill. You pick your battles. That's the whole thing about officiating is you choose a battle, you pick it, and we're certainly not going to do. Let me see your mouth guard. So
yeah.
Do you guys even
right now?
Do you even have access, like pregame or between periods, access to like the referee's room? Because I know in a lot of rinks, the referee locker room is the size of a closet. And you're already cramming 3 people in there. Do you guys even have access to that in a lot of arenas?
There have been some modifications made. I was in Wapaka a couple weeks ago. They put us in one of the old dressing rooms. So the 3 of us were in there, plenty of room. Cornerstone has got a couple rooms for us now. So when we have the changing of the officials, we don't have 6 guys in one room. So Cornerstone has got a couple referee rooms now, where the team I help out with, we have a referee room, and then we've also using one of the other like party room for the referees. So the rinks are accommodating us where they can. I haven't run into a situation during the high school season where I've been uncomfortable. There was one situation during some of the USA hockey stuff that I did that there's just way too many guys in one of the locker rooms. And I said, well, I'm going to go find somewhere else. And I just went off to another room. But during the high school season, we've been accommodated very well.
Well, because we hear a lot about, the players and the coaches and that interaction. We haven't heard a lot about officials, and, we've talked about this several times over the last, officials aren't getting any younger. And, there's always fewer and fewer officials coming into it. So, like, by and large, the officials group is probably older than the coaches group, I would imagine. So, and we're dealing with a pandemic that inordinately affects older people. I think the officials should probably be taken care of. It's already a horrible job.
Yeah. It's not a horrible job. It is what you make it. You're not wrong, Bill. I'm at 61 years old. I'm on the low end of the high risk, and I'm probably within our referee group here in Northeast Wisconsin. I'm top 5 oldest guys probably out here. We would like to be younger, just for recruiting basis. We'd like to be younger, but overall, there's a lot of respect amongst each other here with the referees, that we're looking after each other when we're going into those rooms. And I carry hand sanitizer in my bag at all times, and I make sure I'm washing my hands and getting the mask up when I can in the locker room, just for the safety of everybody and trying to get to the other side of this.
Well, besides this particular, pandemic affecting things, there has been, not just this year, but there's kind of a shortage of officials overall. Is that not still true?
It's not exclusive to hockey. It's just everything. Every sport, high school sport, is struggling for officials. Here, and I'm based out of the Appleton area. We have a really solid feeder group through our USA program. Our problem is that we can groom these kids along, get them out of high school, then they go to college, and typically they don't go to college in our area. They'll referee a little bit during college for some extra money, and then they get out of college, they'll referee maybe a little bit more, and if they're good at it, they'll keep on the path. But the kids that we need to start filling our shoes, they start their own families, and once that happens, they got their jobs, their families. We kind of lose them, and we don't get them back until they're near 40 years old, when they can free up a little bit of time. We've got some in our area here. We've got a number of guys still in their 20s that are going to be great. They already are pretty good. Just gonna be difficult to keep them when they start their families. There's a really large void in the 30s. We don't see a whole lot of hockey officials that are in their 30s. It's not a real priority for them, given what they have, starting their families, starting their careers, and buying a house, and not being able to run out to the rink at a whim. So, the 30-year-olds are the most athletic and able to do our sport, but with the age and maturity of a 40-year-old, maybe that can handle the emotions probably a little bit better, because there's a lot of things to consider when you're officiating a hockey game, not just the athletic part of it.
Chris, quick question. I did WIAA football a little bit. Now, I'm not sure how that works compared to hockey. I know for football, it's kind of hard for a new official to break in because they got so many of the crews that are set up already. And so it's hard for a new official to break in. And so then you end up losing guys, because it's like, okay, I can't ever get in there. How does it work with the hockey?
Yeah, that's a great point, Del. Football and I think basketball similar with the crews in that. I've always kind of been not a real fan of that crew system. With hockey, our local guy Dave King does a great job of getting our kids that have left for college, when they come home at Christmas, and they're home for Christmas for a month, something like this year, they're home almost 2 months, and he tries to get those guys into as many games as possible, and he'll get them into JV games, girls games, as many games as they can handle. He'll try and get them in there, and what that does is get them familiar, and he works them with a whole bunch of different guys, and that's the great thing about hockey, is that we work with different officials all the time, and you learn something from each and every official, because everybody does something different. And then you're not just based on working with one guy. If I'm working with one guy all the time and I got and he can't make one night and I got to bring somebody else in, I'm not going to be real comfortable because I don't know what this other guy calls. So I'm going to be, not only looking at the game, I'm going to be looking at him and worrying about what he does. Whereas what we're doing here is that we're working with different officials all the time. We're bringing in new guys. We're bringing in the younger guys. We work them on the lines, get them accustomed to protocols, how to handle yourself. We can't afford to be so cliquish that we can't get new people in.
See, I don't know how it is down there in the Fox Valley area. Up here, northern part, like when in Anago, the linesman was a local guy, and the referees were brought in, and it was usually a crew. Usually, they traveled in pairs, but not necessarily all the time. But the linesman was a local guy, and the referees, came in pairs. But sometimes they'd be split up too. Is that how it is in other places?
No, I don't see it. Northwoods is a little bit different, Bill, because of the travel restrictions. Here within with the Fox Valley, we're based out of here. Dave King is based out of Winneconne, and he's scheduling, and he's sending all of us from Green Bay down to Fond du Lac, out to Beaver Dam, over to Sheboygan. That's kind of Dave's area of scheduling, and we're going out there all the time. Well, not all of us, but those are the places that we have to cover, and whoever's there kind of goes. And there's no I'm working with this guy and this guy only within our group, and that's the best way to do it, because if you get to the later in the season and when WIAA is doing our scheduling anymore, not the local guys, you got to be prepared to work with different people, and that means a lot, that you're able to conform to, not necessarily conform, but able to adapt to what another official's doing, and be able to work together to get that game done in a good result.
Or just be the linesman, right?
Pardon me?
I said, or just be the linesman.
I can see that, because I did a lot of youth hockey, and we did for years. I did the JV games in Anago, and we had a couple of different partners there, and it was easy because I was working with the same guy, every game, and if something happened down in the corner that I looked, like that looks suspect, but I can see that, I can see from the position he's at that, he didn't call it, so it must have been okay, and so I'd let it go. Other times I could look and I'd see, if something happened on there, and I could just see, obviously he couldn't see that, so I should call it. But knowing your partner makes it easy a lot of times.
Absolutely, it does. Like you said, that case in point where you're the trailing official, and there's a play right in on top of your partner. Sometimes you're just too darn close to make the call. And I've been in that situation where something happens right beside me, and I'm trying to swing out of the way or whatever, and I hear the big collision, or I miss something, and I'll look back to the neutral zone. I'll see my partner's hand in the air, and I'll just go, thank goodness. I have no problem with anybody making that call, even though it's right beside me. Let's get the call right.
Now, we know what kind of conversations the coaches associations have with the WIAA on an annual basis. What do the officials have? Is there a group that speaks for you? Is there someone that speaks for you? Are you kind of at their whim?
Well, I'm somebody who's been treated very, very well by WIAA. Um, I think we do have a referee, Ryan Reichel, who is in constant contact, and Ryan's been at it for years and is a great guy. And Ryan will, kind of talk to officials during the year. We don't have a whole lot really to complain about. Well, I don't. I shouldn't speak for everybody, but we don't have. They don't reach out to us a whole lot. We get our meeting at the beginning of the year, pretty much the same meeting as the coaches get. We do our testing. As far as grievances and gripes, they're always open. If I have something, I'll make a call over to Mr. Shafransky, which doesn't happen very often. But if there's something I feel that he needs to know, always open. He always listens. Whether it gets acted upon has to be for the betterment of the game or whatever. But I've never had a situation where I've been really upset with them and gone, this is ridiculous what they're doing. They're like hockey officials in the sense that they're getting pulled in a million different directions, and everybody thinks they can do it better, for lack of a better word.
You mentioned Ryan Reichel. We had him a couple of weeks ago down here in Janesville, and Ryan was one of the. What's that?
No, sorry about that.
Well, Ryan was one of those referees who was a little bit tight on the whole mask thing. Mm-hmm. If players came out there, and he made it very clear during the captain's meeting with coaches that this is what I'm looking for. If I see it, I'm going to call it. Mm-hmm. And he had a couple times where he had to call it, but it's also something he covered in that meeting. And some of the players just were neglecting to do it. And he wasn't afraid to call a penalty for it.
And that's great. That's what we're trying to get to the end of the other side of this pandemic. And, hopefully by the time we drop the puck back in next November, we have fans in the stands and, kids can wear masks if they want, but hopefully they're not mandated and we can just get on with it. But if we don't do it now, it ain't going to happen then.
Very true.
We had the president of the Wisconsin High School Hockey Coaches Association. That was our Brian Brandt, not BJ anymore. And we had the head of the Wisconsin Girls Hockey Association coaches, and so we wanted the head of the Wisconsin Hockey Officials Association. So we asked our favorite high school hockey official who that was. She said, well, there really isn't one, but if you want somebody who's really good and can talk well, call Chris McGuirk. So.
Chris, you got a reputation. You got a reputation out there, Chris.
Some of it's good, some of it's not so good.
Yeah, we wouldn't invite Nikki on the show. She's not a sparkling conversationalist.
Nikki is a really great girl, and she's turning into a really nice official. I wish we could get more girls involved in officiating. Nikki does a nice job, and it's a little bit difficult, just given in a lot of cases girls are a little bit more laid back or a little bit not as assertive when they're not playing as officials. There's some great women officials out there. I've had pleasure working with some when I was working NCAA women's hockey for 10 years. But at the high school level, we just don't see enough of girls that want to do it. And that's
about how many girls officials do you think we have in the state, Chris?
I don't think we have 10.
No.
I could be wrong, and I hope I am, but I don't think we have 10. I don't think we have anybody here in Northeast Wisconsin doing WIAA. I know we have some doing USA hockey and youth hockey locally, but at the WIAA level, I don't think we have anybody working games out here. Being an assistant coach on a girls team, I haven't seen one yet this year or in the last couple.
How hard is the jump, Chris, between being a USA hockey official and a WIAA official? Just if somebody's out there thinking about, well,
Yeah.
maybe I want to get into that.
That's a great question. The jump is, well, in our area, we're going to ease you in. We're not going to, what we try to do here, and when I say we, I mean the scheduler. I'm asked opinions, but I don't do any scheduling. We do try and just put them in a position to succeed. And when I mean succeed, put them in where we think they're going to be able to get the job, or be able to do the job, be able to enjoy it enough to want to come back, and to be able to be safe too, because there's a lot of stuff going on in a hockey game. So we try to get them in a position to succeed. The jump, if you can work Bantam B or Bantam A, we can work you into JV games and to get your feet wet and get you on your way. So I think that's the best way I can answer that question, is if you can work decent level Bantam, we can make you a high school hockey official if you're willing.
Chris.
I was going to jump in there with, just from my own experience, having worked USA hockey, JV hockey, and done some lines at the varsity level, done some lines in the game. I mean, a lot of it comes down, well, I mean, obviously you have to have the mental aptitude and be able to block out the noise. But a lot of it has to do with just your skating ability. I mean, you have to be able to keep up at each level. I mean, you have to be able to skate at that like even now. Well, I haven't skated all this year, but like, I mean, last year I was playing hockey, and I still think I could probably still do even a refereeing at a JV level, but varsity and lines at best, skating from blue line to blue line, just skating ability, I mean, just being able to skate and keep up. It's a fast game.
Yeah, and that goes to, when you're 30, you work a little harder, and when you get older, you work a little smarter. Being in the right spot is the key. And the more hockey you see, you see a team for a while, you kind of know their breakout. Are they rimming it? Are they going up through the middle? You can get your positioning on in the end zone position when defensive team takes the puck over, and kind of give them room behind you to make that play, but you can't let the player behind you. You can let the puck go behind you. You're absolutely right. We're one of the major sports where our officials have to be pretty athletic to do it at the highest levels. You just, no offense to anybody who's a basketball fan, but if you can walk, you can get on the court. With us, you have to have some aptitude in skating, and experience as a hockey player is a plus, because you're able to read plays and know what's going to probably happen before it actually happens, and position yourself accordingly.
Heck, if you're doing home plate in baseball, I'm not even sure you have to be able to walk.
Yeah.
Well, no. Although, Chris, you nailed it perfectly in that. As I saw from a post from watching a football game from Troy Schwer, he was watching a college football game, and he insulted the officials by claiming this is turning into a basketball game, and that, I mean, the best way hockey fans and stuff can insult the sport is to compare it with basketball.
Yeah, my boss is a D1 basketball player back in his day, and he slags me on hockey, but I told him, I never really picked up a basketball in my life, but I can get into one of your basketball games long before you can get into one of my hockey games. So.
Chris, if you're a parent of a young player who's thinking about becoming an official, how would you explain to the parent on letting that kid do it and what to expect?
That's a great question, Del. Here in our area, we kind of hold we start putting out flyers in the rinks during the summer to let them know that we hold up a sign up evening where they can come in and ask us those questions. Here we typically do it at the Appleton Ice Arena in August, and the questions, are typically, what expenses are there to them, and the expenses typically are your USA Hockey registration. We have a local fee, but we waive that for our first year officials because we know there's costs incurred. So you have your USA Hockey fee, then you'll have your equipment, and your mandatory equipment is a helmet with a visor, and black trousers and skates, and of course a referee's jersey. So as far as that youth getting into a game, we're allowed to do it at I think 12 years old at USA Hockey is the youngest. I find that, with no offense, and it's not 100% true, I find that a little young. I would rather see them come at 14 years old, because they can handle a little bit more adversity at 14 than they can at 12, because I want that 12-year-old to come back as a 13-year-old and the 14-year-old. The likelihood of somebody starting at 14 coming back at 15 is much greater than that 12-year-old coming back for a second season. So I would ask that parent, is your child mature enough to take some sort of guff from an angry coach that probably isn't focused on what he should be, but he's turning his frustration onto the official, with no offense to Squirt C players, but a Squirt C, you're going to have a Squirt C official who's learning just as much as every player on the ice is learning. That Squirt C official is also learning. So I would be asking that parent, is your child old enough to want to come back after he has an unfortunate encounter with a coach? So those are typically the kind of questions that a parent will ask. I encourage everybody to try it. It's great. I think I started refereeing, I want to say somewhere around 1979. Gave it up for a little while, and then when I moved to Wisconsin, I was reffing within a year of living in Wisconsin, and I'll tell you, my best American friends typically are hockey referees. We do a lot of stuff together. We were at a wedding the other night for one of our officials. It's a great brotherhood. It keeps us in the game of hockey, giving back to hockey, and still staying at a competitive. You get the competitive juices flowing, the adrenaline gets going. On every night you work. You are part of a game. You don't win, you don't lose, but you're always part of it, and it's a really great feeling when that game goes well, and you did well.
Chris, I'm down here in Janesville, and we've got the North American Janesville Jets down here. And you talk about officials, and a lot of these guys are 24, 25 years old, really, really young. And they're taking on 18, 19, 20-year-olds and calling games. Getting coaches, that ain't probably not much older than them. And these are, as much as these guys get ripped on and, squawked at and all that, people also forget that this is a development league for them too. If they want to make that next step into being a referee, if they want to go up and, if they want to start doing, for example, AHL games and things like that. And there is an evaluator who travels and watches their games. And, sometimes those evaluators, really find out, can this guy jump to the next level, or is he just going to be stuck here? You guys have evaluators in the WIA at all?
Nothing's official, Mike. We'll get a call from somebody right around the time they start thinking about the playoffs, I'll get a call. So some of the guys, more veteran guys, will get a call and they'll ask about other officials. You know, what's he capable of, what he's not capable of. You know, when they're trying to do their playoff pairings. So as far as that type of evaluation, there's nobody official. What we do get, Mike, is we have coaches rankings, and it's not a perfect system, and I'll because it's not mandatory. And if it was mandatory, I think some coaches take it very seriously and do a real nice job on it, and others only do their rankings when they're not happy. I think there's a 48-hour window before they can rank us. But not everybody ranks. It's not. I wish it was a little bit more consistent, not by the scores, but by the times that were ranked. And just my opinion, I think that we should be able to rank each other as officials because honestly, we know what to look for.
Yeah, you guys are together, and
Yeah.
how guys call it.
Yeah, the 48 hours is when they can actually send it in. They fill it out that night.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, but I would really like to be able to let us kind of be part of that ranking system too, just because I know what I'm looking for in an official, and quite honestly, and some nights are good and some nights are bad, and the officials that get to the next level are the ones that are able to look in the mirror and go, well, McGuirk, you suck tonight. I don't need a coach to tell me. I don't need a coach to tell me I suck. I know when I suck, and then some nights I do, but some nights you're out there and you nail it and you get everything, and coach isn't happy, but yourself that you did a great job. And some nights you suck, and coach go, hey, nice game tonight, and you just kind of say to yourself, not so much, but thank you.
I'd like to add one thing for anybody who's considering getting into officiating, or especially for parents of somebody who's a peewee or a bantam, thinking they might want to get into officiating. Yes, you're going to take some guff from the stands because maybe it's not so bad now because there aren't the parents in the stands telling, like you said, telling you what you should be calling. But if you want to learn the game of hockey, learn the rule book. That's all. That always helps. And if you're an official, you have to learn the rule book. But to be able to stand and skate up and down the boards and watch as these other players, try to do things. You can learn so much about hockey. You see a guy coming in, and you think, and you can see, look, you watch, this guy's coming, he's going to hit you, get out of the way, and you see his head buried down. You can learn so much about hockey just by skating up and down the ice as an official. It will make you a better hockey. It'll give you better understanding of how the game is played. Just be able to skate up and down the ice, watching these other kids play the game. You can see, he shouldn't have done that. Or that was stupid. Why would you do that? Why? Like say, being an official, like it says, skating as a neutral observer, up and down the ice, watching these kids play is a great way to learn the game of hockey. It's a great experience, for young hockey players.
That's a great point. It goes for coaches too. Coaches can become great referees too, or you can learn a little bit more. And it's funny because everybody has a different lens that they watch a hockey game through. When I'm watching a hockey game, I'm a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. I'm watching the Leafs, right? The refs suck every time the Leafs.
Sorry. Yeah.
every time the Leafs lose, they suck. But so I'm watching the Leafs, but then I'm kind of got one eye, on the official, and where is he if he gets himself into a bit of a jam in the corner? How's he going to get? how's he going to, escape that jam? What route is he going to go behind the net and let his partner switch off at top, or is he going to, hold his position and let play develop around him? So, everybody, coach watches when he's watching a hockey game. He's not watching what the referee's watching. He's watching his team doing what he wants them to do. The fan is watching their player. So everybody watches that game through a different lens. It's just interesting to talk to somebody who watched the exact same game as you did and get their opinion of it. And it might be just totally different than what you saw.
Well, I think one thing that as fans, we tend to forget too, is the view that you're getting. If you're the hockey official there on the ice or football official, whatever, you're targeted to a certain view. And if I'm within 3 feet of it, of a play going on, I'm not seeing the wider view that the coach is seeing on a bench. And if you're up in the stands, you're getting even a bigger view. And I think half the time, just being human, we forget that. And, and we let our emotions go where we shouldn't. And, as somebody that scheduled referees for youth hockey, and then, managed the rink here in Reedsburg for a while, the ice scheduling, it's different things that you end up paying more attention to with the detail to your job. But I think that's the biggest thing for people to understand is there's the different perspective of what you're able to see because of where you're at and how close you are to the action.
Great point, Del. Like you said, when we're on the ice, we're ice level, and players skate in front of us right at that key moment. Of course, they don't do it when we're not, but somebody will skate in front of us and we'll get an obstructive view, and that's why having 2 referees out there, while mom and dad are sitting on a blanket with their hot chocolate and marshmallows, we're down there, trying to see everything that we possibly can, see without getting, but the good referees will try to get themselves in that right position and anticipate what's going to happen.
That's pretty good stuff you brought to the table tonight there, Chris.
All righty. Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Yeah, well.
Although I do like to, hey Chris, although I do like to watch Wes McCauley. It seems like he's always got something interesting to say.
He's not afraid of that microphone either.
No, he loves it.
Yeah.
That's fun. It's funny knowing that he's Eric Fenton. His kids came through USM. That's Eric Fenton's brother-in-law.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
He's married to Eric Fenton's sister.
Oh, wow. Okay. No,
Small world, huh?
I do know Eric, so he never told me that. So
well, we all know Eric quite well.
Great guy. He does a lot for hockey.
You bet he did. All right. Anything else for Chris, guys?
Do you think any referees are going to stick with the electronic whistle when this is all over?
God, I hope not. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't think the sound carries enough. I really don't. I hope that doesn't happen.
I was always a fan of the Acme Thunder. It could stop a charging Bantam at 10 feet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the whistle of choice for this guy too.
A whistle of choice, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Acme Thunderer.
All right.
I will not be getting any royalties or kickbacks from the Acme company.
What if they want to?
We'll talk. There are people call my
your girl will get a hold of their girl or whatever the case may be. Guys, we done with Chris?
I think so.
All right, Chris, you're off the hot seat, dude.
Hey guys, I just want to say thanks for everything. You guys do a great job of covering Wisconsin hockey. Your website gets a lot of clicks from my computer during the season, and you guys do a wonderful job covering hockey in the state of Wisconsin, and it's greatly appreciated. You guys do a great job. Thanks.
Who paid you to do that? Say that.
Nobody. Same guy who's paying me for the whistle. Hey, I'm going to just hang around and listen for a while.
Okay, Chris, thank you very much. All right, guys, let's move on to the rest of this
Sorry,
glorious.
I had to find it. the Acme Thunder. For those of you who hadn't seen one, with the wrist, the finger cushions there, you just slide it on middle two fingers of your other hand. There you go.
You need a little tape on the other end so you don't break your teeth when you got to jam it in for that quick offside.
Never had that happen. So.
Well, you never called offside?
It's good.
10 feet offside, but hey, we're good.
Good. Thanks,
all right,
guys.
let's move on to our Wyndham Garden Madison Fitchburg Players of the Week. Del Scanlon, what do we got?
Well, this week for our Wyndham Garden Madison Fitchburg Players of the Week, we're going to travel a little northwest in Wisconsin for our boys Player of the Week. On Monday, he had 12 saves in a shutout and a 7-0 win over Whistle Flag. On Tuesday, he had 48 saves, allowing 1 goal and a 2-1 victory over Eau Claire North. Wednesday, 35 saves and a 3-2 win over New Richmond. And Saturday, 26 saves and a 5-2 loss to the Hilltoppers out of Onalaska. And the player is goaltender Caleb Bentz of Somerset. It's the boys Player of the Week. On the girls' side, we have a player from Western Wisconsin. She scored 4 goals and a 7-0 win over Medford. And the girls' Player of the Week this week is Erin Simonson from Viroqua. And those are our Wyndham Garden Madison Fitchburg's Players of the Week. Back to you, MJ.
A couple shout outs this week for other nominees. Brady Welsh of St. Mary's Springs. And I want to give a shout out to Chloe Tobin of the Warbirds Co-op. Their normal goalie, Haley Shear, got injured about midway through the second period in their game against Arrowhead on Saturday. And freshman Chloe Tobin, who had never played goalie before, stepped in, stopped 7 of 11 shots. They ended up losing that game 5-4 to Arrowhead, but I was watching that game after it aired. I was watching the replay on Live Barn, and I was skipping ahead to the goals based on the score sheet, and there was just this long break at 7:51 of the second period, and eventually I just, instead of like rewinding and finding out what caused it, I just tweeted at the teams like, what happened here? They're like, yeah, the goalie got hurt, and they had to dress a new one. And I like, did she ever play goalie before? Nope. But yeah, she played a period and a half of varsity hockey, stopped 7 of 11 shots, which is pretty damn good for your first time in net. So yeah, Chloe Tobin, good on you.
What would make a freshman want to get in there and have pucks flying at her?
Somebody's got to do it.
That's true. Those are our Players of the Week, brought to you by our Wyndham Garden Fitchburg location in the Madison area. Thank you very much for the people that were nominated. And you mentioned Brady Welsh. I was looking over his line, and my goodness, he had quite the week as well. Bill Jr., you want to talk a little bit about the Hobie Baker Award, correct?
Well, you skipped over the top 10s.
Oh, well, okay. Let's back up. Let's go to the top 10s.
Top 6s, sorry.
Top 6s?
Yep, top 6s. Only 2 unanimous this week, not 3. Sorry, Chris.
I wonder why that is.
I wonder why. I wonder what coach keeps not putting the Fox City Stars at number 1. Number 1 for the boys, Hudson, followed by Notre Dame Academy, Chippewa Falls, University School, Eau Claire Memorial, and Verona. Wausau West is honorable mention in D1. Division 2, St. Mary's Springs is unanimous number 1. Lakeland is 2nd. Rice Lake is 3rd. New Richmond is 4th. Northland Pines is 5th. And Mosinee is 6th. And then for the girls, number 1, but not unanimous this week, is the Fox City Stars, followed by the Eau Claire area Stars, the Western Wisconsin Stars. It's a lot of stars in 3 rankings. The Hudson Raiders, the Chippewa Falls Menominee Sabres, and the St. Croix Valley Fusion. So other than the Fox City Stars, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all out of Section 1 in the girls' bracket.
Well, you can't really get any out of the Madison area down here just because everybody is playing Waha.
Yeah, and you know, I told the coaches at the start of the year they can vote for the Waha teams if they want to, but just because some of them are using their high school team for stats and stuff on our site, some of them are not. It's kind of hard to tell where everybody's at. Verona is pretty much using the Verona page. The Madison, the Polar Caps, I believe it's Memorial and West. They're using the Madison West page on our site, so we have a good idea of what they're doing. But as far as the girls goes, I don't know what any of the Waha teams are doing as far as our site goes. We told them they can use it. That's probably the easiest path, is just to make it the same team, but it's hard to do. But yeah, section 1.
So, and when is the reconciliation?
But you also, when you mention that, you look at the
tomorrow, I believe.
Go ahead, Bill.
Tomorrow they will find out which teams will be coming back into the WIAA fold, at least for the playoffs in state tournament consideration.
I believe tomorrow is the deadline, and then the WIAA will probably update their assignments or something on Tuesday.
Their brackets.
They won't have the brackets yet because there's going to have to be seeding and.
The assignments anyway.
But you'll know who's in what sectional.
Yeah, that's the assignments should hopefully be updated, so we'll know what's going to happen.
When are Dane County rinks supposed to open?
That's a good question, Del. I mean,
that's why he asked.
That I don't know. All the teams that I've seen their press announcement that they're playing, like I've seen Verona is playing, Monona Grove opened up their winter sports. Everything I've seen said that they're playing competitions outside of Dane County. So as far as rinks being open in Dane County, I don't know. I don't know about that.
That's not the school's call, I guess, at that point.
No, but yeah, all the schools that have positively confirmed already that they are playing they've all said that they're playing outside of Dane County.
Okay. Everybody, we should hear in the next couple of days. You would think that, what's going to go on, and what a lot hinging on what Dane County does. And we kind of unfortunate it's that way, but it's a different time, I guess, and we all have to adapt. The Hobie Baker Award. I've gotten a few emails about it, and who would like to discuss that award? It's a pretty doggone good award given out to a player from each team.
I guess that's my responsibility now. The Hobie Baker Award, it is an award giving out that is given out by the Hobie Baker group anyway. Each school is asked to nominate a player from their high school. It is a character award. It is not necessary. It's not like the college Hobie Baker Award, named for the same person, but it's not for the best college hockey player. This is a character award. This is deserving candidates are selected by their high school coach based on the number of factors that demonstrate their character, including a positive attitude, outstanding sportsmanship, excellent work ethic, unselfish team player, coachability, a great role model, and exemplary citizenship. So this is truly about the good guys on your team, not necessarily the best player, but just the guys that make the team better, make the program better. Every team has somebody that fits this mold, so every team should send in a nominee, and the nomination forms are on our site. At the top of our site, if you go to seniors and Hobie Baker, it's right there. Nomination forms. Send your form in. They do. I mean, they ask. It's a voluntary thing. They ask for a donation from your booster club or something. It's not required, but we generally have good participation among the teams. Last year we had about 70% on the boys' side, 82% on the girls' side. Obviously, we would like everybody to participate. But just send it in. Find somebody in your team, especially a senior. I mean, every team right now, every team is going through extraordinary circumstances. You've got somebody on your team, your seniors are being shortchanged out of their senior year. You've got somebody some particular senior on your team who is, doing his best to get his team through and lead his team through this. Recognize them, nominate them for this award. Do it for them. They deserve it. That's all I got to say.
And if not, do it for Chris McGuirk.
No, not for Chris. No.
For Chris. But he'd be that referee we would nominate, right?
Well, you got it. One thing you have to ask Chris is, whose professional career did you ruin today?
All of them. All of them.
But by calling a cheap penalty that knocked him out of the game,
That interference call, Chris. There's so many variables to that.
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to be on the ice with some kids that are making some money at the game, so I didn't ruin them all.
Or that too many men on the ice call. Really, his leg was over the boards. Guys, any other thoughts for tonight? I'll tell you what. I just want to give this out. Here in Janesville, our coach, John Maurman, with this pandemic, nobody, we don't have the Big 8 conference play this year. That's out the window. He's put together a schedule, and he's worked very hard at it. And all the parents have been very appreciative, knowing that he's working really hard to put something together so our kids can play. He makes sure they're compliant with the whole COVID thing. And this week he's rewarding them with 3 games. One at USM, one home against Edgewood, and one home against Fondy Springs. What a week coming up. Oof.
Well, with what you're saying there, MJ, you got to give a lot of credit to all these coaches this year, adapting when games have been canceled, being able to fill them in. We talked to John Welsh here a couple of weeks ago, explaining how games were canceled. Fond du Lac couldn't play, so they picked up game against Homestead. When Fond du Lac couldn't play them that week, they picked that one up. One of their other games had gotten canceled, and they pulled RWD in, who hadn't been on their schedule. So all these coaches, from both the boys and girls side, are having to adapt at this season. And as Chris said earlier with the referees, their schedule on Monday looks like this, and by the time Saturday rolls around, everything's changed. For the coaches, the players, and the officials, the adapting that they've had to do this season, kudos to all of them.
Well, MJ, I can tell you from Bill's brother when he played at the high school level, that 3 games in a week was great, because Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday games were his favorite weeks, because practice the day before a game was generally a light practice, because you didn't have to work too hard. So you got a light practice a game, that's the perfect week for him.
That's exactly what these guys are going to get down here. And, but boy, you talk about a tough schedule. Oh my goodness. Go and beat all 3 of those teams. That's a tall task with the talent.
Too bad he couldn't get Notre Dame in there and just make it the 4-pack.
No, I agree. That's,
schools.
We should have played them today. I mean, why not?
I don't know. I'd be nervous. I was watching University School and Spash on Saturday, and I was doing something else, and that game was just on in the background, and I looked up, and all of a sudden USM had like 4 goals, and I'm like, it was just nothing. Like, they just piled them on. It ended up being a 5-1 game, but they just piled them on. That's a scary good team.
I did USM last week against Wausau West, and they are very good. I get the pleasure of doing them against Notre Dame this coming Saturday, which should be a lot of fun too. So USM.
Oh, wait a minute. We have to is there going to be a live stream of that?
No,
We're
I'm
gonna-
canceling it all.
We're
No.
going to have to feature that on our site.
Chris, you're
Not-
officiating
not-
that
not-
one, right?
Not
Yeah.
just for you, but yeah,
Yeah, Mike.
but mainly for you.
You're gonna run the helmet cam during it, right?
Yeah, I don't want anybody to see what I see. Then all my excuses go away.
Well, see,
Turn your
I
microphone
thought Chris
off.
was going to write our game article for that one.
Oh, where's that game going to be played?
Cornerstone.
I'm going to have to send Bob over there to take pictures just on the off chance that you fall on your ass again.
That's not a chance. That's a likelihood.
It's if Bob is taking pictures of Chris is either going to fall on his ass or he's going to take a slap shot to the back. It's one of the two options.
But I keep coming back. That's
Right.
Who's the stupid one?
Yeah,
Taking quite a few of those.
I'm sorry.
You've taken quite a few of those during your career.
slap shots to the
Still-
back.
Well,
Bills,
in the
yes.
back, just taking flying pucks. I mean, you're an older guy now. You're 61. You can't get out of the way as fast as you could, probably.
It's a fact. Not an awful lot. This year, in the USA hockey part of the season, there was a USHL tournament in Green Bay where I took a pretty good one on the inside of a thigh, just a kid
Ouch.
rimming it, and yeah, it wasn't pleasant. But we do have some padding. You know, we have shin pads. You know, you spend some money, you get a good pair of pants with some padding in. But you know, in fact, in the last couple of years, I bought one of those football under vests with some padding here on the shoulder and the kidneys, just a little bit. Plus, it acts as a girdle. I don't look as fat on the ice.
Well, I think you gained weight because you look a little bigger overall.
Yeah, well, pandemic has got us all in different ways.
I can't imagine
Boy, is it ever.
dropping the puck on a face-off without shin guards.
Guys do it. I don't know how, but guys do it. So, yeah, not this guy.
All right, guys. Anything else we got for tonight's show?
Just thanks to Chris for coming on and putting up with our questions.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah, we sure appreciate it, Chris, and thanks for hanging in for the whole show. And I'm sure our paths will cross somewhere along the way.
Yeah, we won't see you in Madison, will we?
No, don't look like it's going to be that way unless something bizarre happens. But we'll see. Doesn't look like it at this point. So, thanks for coming on. Enjoyed this a lot.
It was fun. A lot of fun. Thanks, guys.
Okay, guys, that'll do it for Dell, the two Bergs, Chris McGuirk. Thanks again. You've been watching and listening to This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey.